how long does humanity have left? The Doomsday Clock says we're 90 seconds away from midnight, after atomic scientists kept the predicted points of the world's annihilation, as they did last year, as close to midnight as ever before. But what does that really mean? And where did the concept of the Doomsday Clock even come from? The Doomsday Clock is a symbolic timepiece showing how close the world is to ending. Midnight marks the theoretical point of annihilation. Every year, scientists move the hands of the clock closer to or further away from midnight, based on their reading of existential threats at that time. Cambridge University's expert on existential threat, Paul Ingram, explains.
It emerged at the beginning of the Cold War to give a sense of the urgency to achieve nuclear disarmament and to climb out of the abyss that we were facing in the early 1950s. And in more recent times, it has taken on climate change and emerging disruptive technology to give a sense of the risks, the catastrophic risks that we face as a planet, largely through our own deliberate activities.
Albert Einstein was among a group of atomic scientists who created the clock back in 1947. These days, a Chicago-based NGO called the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists updates the time annually. A board of scientists and other experts in nuclear technology and climate science, including 13 Nobel laureates, discuss world events and determine where to place the hands of the clock each year. When the clock first started ticking more than 75 years ago, it sat at 7 minutes to midnight. In 1991, the clock was the furthest it has ever been from doomsday at 17 minutes. That was the time when the Cold War ended and the United States and Soviet Union signed the Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty that substantially reduced both countries' nuclear weapons arsenals.
If we maintain an addiction to competition and to conflict as a way of managing our social interactions and our interactions with the ecosystems, we will perish. I think as the threats get larger and that we become more aware and we understand them better, there is hope. I think that we do change our practices and the way we think and approach these things.
Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles, a great millstone. Peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. Noise in this gospel, bro, lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. What you're seeing here is a depiction of what they call the Doomsday Clock. As we just narrated in the video, that has been created during the time of the Cold War, which, you know, the Soviet Union or the USSR at that time was in heavy conflict or was in opposition to the Western nations, you know, Germany, France, etc. You had what they call the NATO nations, which was set up around 1949 to be of opposition to combat the Eastern Bloc at that time. And they claimed that the Doomsday Clock is closer than what has ever been. I know from the Ukrainian conflict, I believe it was still 90 seconds to midnight, but we're far greater and more conflict than what the Ukrainian conflict has preceded. You see what I'm saying? Because for one thing, the war in Ukraine, not the war in Ukraine, but the war in Ukraine back in 2023, 22, literally we saw mass, how can I say it? We saw a mass buildup of armies around these particular borders, okay? But it's all capped though, because if anything, this thing need to be 30 seconds from midnight, okay? Because we're a lot closer than what we was a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. Clearly, okay, you got the Houthis, you got the Hamas, you got the rebels in the Middle East, okay? You got Russia, China, North Korea, Ethiopia, Libya, okay, America, NATO, okay? You got what they call the Operation Steadfast Protection, Steadfast Defender 2024, which is basically America with NATO showing off their military might with 90,000 troops doing these military drills, man. Okay, so this man is getting ready to go down, and honestly speaking, him not moving the doomsday clock is really a form of fear. Okay, because he's afraid to move it close because he knows subconsciously he's getting ready to be brought down. Okay, so this is a depiction here. It says 1947 doomsday clock appears for the first time 1947, which is 7 minutes to midnight. 1949 was Soviet's first nuclear test, which was 3 minutes to midnight. Okay, 2 minutes to midnight was 1953 U.S. test hydrogen bomb. 1991, which is the farthest it's ever been, was the end of the Cold War. 9 minutes to midnight was the Indian and Pakistan staged nuclear weapons tests. 5:75 to midnight, 2007, North Korea conducts a nuclear test. Then we went back down to 3 minutes to midnight when the climate change and nuclear concerns. Then since 2023, the war in Ukraine, nuclear, bio, and climate concerns. Hold on.
Yeah, so we working on it.
One hand. One.
Salakia, man. Fucking co-workers, man. Anyway, Jay can't even dip off and do a lesson. But regardless of that, what it says here, 1990, what is it, 2023, it says war in Ukraine, nuclear, bio, and concerns. 2024, war in Ukraine, nuclear, bio, climate, and AI concerns, okay, which AI is pretty much their new form of technology or their new god. Okay, AI, which stands for artificial intelligence. Now, with that being said, the scriptures go into Esau, Edom being brought down quickly because 90 seconds to midnight is roughly a minute and a half or a minute and 30 seconds. So this is the closest it's ever been, which shows you that he's on his way up out of here. All right. So let's go to the book of Job 14, and I'm going to start. Job 14, and I'm going to start at verses 5. It says, seeing that his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. It says, thou hast appointed his bound, or has appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. So he can play with the doomsday clock. He can literally move it 20 minutes from midnight. At the end of the day, Yahweh Shai is determining on how you're going to be taken down. It ain't going to be no, well, we're an hour from midnight. That means we have some time left. No, the Lord said that he's going to come as a thief of the night. Okay? And understanding how these prophecies are rolling out, he ain't got that much time left. Okay? It says, seeing that his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee, thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. Because, I mean, scientists even came out and they proved that, hold on.